I just want to say something to those people out there who would like to hear something, just to let them know that they are not alone. There's a lot of people out there like yourself, who may be going through similar things or the same things, and to maybe uplift them a little bit. Me, myself, I've been from ever since I know that I was here. My first memory was, probably like 1983, my first clear memory of myself. Yeah, I would say from about 1983. Growing up wasn't easy, I came from a poor family, mom and dad didn't have much, you know. I was brought up. My mom and my dad separated when I was very young, and I would think I was like maybe 4, and yeah, my mom take us to another city. And life was challenging growing up, to be honest. Then after a while, I went to live with my grandparents. It was pretty tough there too because they didn't have much, but I did enjoy the time living with my grandparents because of the river and stuff like that was there. I went fishing with my grandfather. I went to the Orange Walk with him. It was rough, but he still showed love in the roughness too, So we used to go to the Orange Walk. The worst thing for me with him though was to go to this place called Bottom Pasta, because he would get up like 5 o'clock in the morning and we would cross the river, and it would be so cold, and I don't know if anybody understand, in the country with the dew water and the leaf in the 5 o'clock in the morning is very cold, and it's not the most pleasant. I remember one time when I went to him to Bottom Pasta and he milked the cow. I remember clearly. I was probably like 5 or 6, and it was a big cheese pan of milk. Back in those days, the pan that the cheese come in, they used to save them. They used to make tea in them. They used to do all sort of stuff with them. So he had milked the cow into a cheese pan, and he had me drink some of the milk directly from the cheese pan. That was real fun, actually. Yeah. So life living with my grandparents, it was hard, but there was space in there, and that I do remember that I really enjoyed, and then after that I went back to live with my dad, and it was very rough living with my dad because as I said, it was poor, tough, hard. He didn't do like a real job. He used to be a preacher, and he likes to preach, but after that part of him take a backslide, or take the back seat, so to speak, he started to do farming, and go to different people, different farmers in the community, and they would give him odds job, but that wasn't enough to give us a good sustainable life as kids, so it was a little tough living with him. We used to go to school. I remember going to school without no shoes for a long period of time. I could still remember my feet standing on the hot pavement, walking in the sun. I didn't have a book bag. My book was in my chest, so the sweat from my chest, with my book in the shirt, cause my book too have, dog ears, and it wasn't fun. I remember walking every day to school for miles. I remember not having much to eat, but there's one thing was with my dad though, he would never let us go to bed. Even if it was at bed already, he would wake us up and give us something to eat. That's it. That's the one good thing I could say about him while I was living with him for the few years. Yeah, he would never let you go to bed to sleep, but did he stand up as a man the way he should? In my personal opinion, I don't think so. Cause I would have the memory if he had done so, but I'm not here to put him down or anything, but, um, yeah, I don't think he did the optimal, I don't think he did his job, so to speak. Yeah. But to continue,